there's everything in the Bible. So we are in a lot of states of consciousness. Now, the Old Testament, what they call the Hebrew Bible now, but the Old Testament was kind of like our story before we knew the truth of who we are. That we are divine beings, and that we have all the goodness and the grace and the nature of God. This is... The headset is now working? Okay. Well, we got, okay. How's that? Okay. I won't move my hand. But the whole thing about the Old Testament, it's like the way that people saw God at that time. That God was out there and God could do all kinds of nasty things to us. Right? And a lot of us grew up having those beliefs. Thank goodness we came to Unity and found out the truth. That that's not God, that's not the nature of God to be mean and nasty. The nature of God is to be loving and supportive, and that everything we are is God, that God is everywhere present, and that there is only one power and one presence. There is no other force like Satan that is making us do stuff. We are really quite good ourselves at bringing on enough stuff for ourselves without trying to think that some other force is doing it to us. I don't know about you, but that's one of my, anyway, we won't go there right now. I think the whole thing about Sodom and Gomorrah, I mean, you know what was going on there. If you don't know, just read the verses before what I just read. And the thing about, when I was growing up in Quebec, I don't know if it was like this in other parts of Canada where it wasn't French Roman Catholic, but Catholics were not allowed to read the Bible. They weren't allowed to own one. They were not. Was that in English Canada as well? Or was it more? Anyway, it was what? In Europe? Oh, okay. Yeah, there'll be no owning the Bible because that's only for the priests to interpret. And thank goodness maybe they did, but it was, However, there's a lot to interpret in this story today. But today we're going to focus on one part of it, Lot's wife. And what happens when we're in that consciousness of holding on to the past so tightly that we don't ever want to let go. Now, did you notice her name? No, they don't give her a name. It's Lot's wife. That's it. Yeah. Because women in the Bible were mainly chattels. Just like, again, when I grew up in Quebec. How many people grew up in Quebec? Yeah, we were classed with children and idiots. We were not allowed to own property. That was from the Napoleonic Code. So, things don't happen fast, do they? I mean, this is the way it was back during the time of Lot, Abraham and Lot. Still continued on up until the 1950s or more. Now, Lot and his wife had 2 daughters, and you can just imagine all the stuff that they had accumulated. They lived there for years. These girls were ready to get married. It even talked about their fiancés in that chapter. They had their dowries, they had all their pots and pans, they had their clothes, they had their photograph albums, they had all, their computers and all this stuff. Like, they did not want to let go of it, right? No. But the angels didn't even let them pack a bag. It's like they grabbed them by the wrists and hauled them out of there as fast as they could go because they were going to be destroyed. And then, no wonder she turned around and looked at all that she was leaving behind. That was her home. It was all the good and the bad. But then she was turned into a pillar of salt. Why? Why? Now, mind you, this is a story. Remember that not everything you read in the Bible is true. It is not the Word of God. It was divinely inspired, and it was put in there to teach a lesson to the Hebrews but it was not always true. But the whole interesting thing was, in those days, as the same as it is today, salt was used to preserve food, right? That's why we have pickles and beef jerky and bacon and all those lovely salty things. And Lot's wife wanted to preserve so badly that she turned into salt. This story is an extreme example of someone who was not willing to develop that God-given gift of letting go, of surrendering. I just love, where did I put it? This is so amazing that today's daily word is about surrender. I gratefully surrender to the spiritual certainty that my life is in divine order. I don't think she knew that this was divine order. And well, of course, she probably didn't even know about divine order. But this is one of our 12 powers. Renunciation, elimination. It's the one that gives us the energy to open up a space so we have room for more. And so she simply wouldn't let go of her own life, even with all the awful stuff that had been going on in Sodom, where they lived, and Gomorrah, and even knowing that she had been told, this is going to be destroyed. Oh no, I don't want to know. She suffered not only mentally and physically, but she wasn't able to enjoy what she was coming to, the new part of her life, this new energy. So negative emotions are normal responses to things that happen to us. I learned the other day that there are only 2 emotions. Well, of course, in Miracles, it's been said that for a long time. But then I thought, what about all those other emotions? Well, apparently, there are 2 emotions, love, fear and love, and all the rest are feelings. And they come under the categories of love and fear. Well, that makes it so much easier. So they're feelings. Great. Anyway, that was just something that helped me kind of get these things, because I like divine order in my mind. Anyway, but it's so easy to fall into that pattern that Lot's wife was in. But if we're going to develop our spiritual faculties, we must be willing to cleanse and purify our thinking so that we create this space for the new to be in our lives. Because it's not about our stuff. It's not about our pots and pans and our computers and our, living rooms and stuff. It's about our mind. It's about our thinking. That's what has to be cleaned out. That's what has to be gotten rid of. I mean, there's a lot of people, especially recently in this congregation, that have been clearing out their stuff. I mean, they're, Alara and Bonnie and Sherry Grace, they've kind of released a lot of their stuff. And it's so amazing. I had to do that when I left Mississauga. I was a minister in Mississauga for 7 years. And then I got the message, another whining time for me, because I did not want to leave Mississauga, to help develop unity groups across Canada. And so I went from a 3-bedroom townhouse in Mississauga to living in my 19-foot van for 3 months. I got rid of a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of it was really great. I had 4 big bookcases and 2 huge legal-sized filing cabinets. Went down to 1 little file that I carried in my hand. It's great. Mind you, a lot of it's on the cloud, but I don't have to haul that around. Anyway, it's so wonderful, but it's not just our physical beings that have to be cleaned out on a regular basis, is it? More importantly, and it's our minds. And just like we have to have a clear digestive system, shall we say, in order to release all the old so that we can then digest the new food, we have to release all our old thinking and our thoughts and our beliefs so that we can digest these new positive ideas. Do you remember Alara last month? Alara and I had the healing circle the first Sunday of the month, and we stressed the necessity of using the power of denials before we try to get affirmations into our brains. Now, this is This is the unity term, the new thought term for stating the truth about certain things, but denying the power that they have over us. In other words, I deny the power of if I have a cold, you don't deny you've got a cold, but you deny the power of the cold to make you to believe that you're never going to get better, that this too will never pass, when we know that's not true. That's not true, it will. And to deny the power of our negative thoughts and beliefs, to influence our life, to turn us around is so important, because we do not want to turn into a pillar of salt, do we? Or a telephone pole, either one. But there's no point in saying affirmations without first saying the denials. Charles Fillmore said, who's Unity's co-founder, who used to live in one of those houses that we saw down at Unity Village, said, it's just as necessary that one should learn to let go of thoughts, conditions, and substances in consciousness, body, and affairs, when they have served their purpose and one no longer needs them. As it is that one should lay hold of new ideas and new substances to meet one's daily requirements. Therefore, it's very necessary that the eliminative faculty, that's the letting go faculty, be quickened or activated in ourselves. And a right balance between receiving and giving, laying hold and letting go be established. It's kind of like if you have a glass full of water that looks lovely. It's clear, but you notice that there's this layer of sludge in the bottom. Now, if you take it over to the tap and turn the tap on and start putting water in, what happens? It gets all stirred up and all murky, and it looks absolutely terrible. So, in order to be able to have a clean glass of water, you have to pour out the old. That's the power of denial. Letting go of the old, wash out the glass, scrub it out, get all those thoughts and feelings out of there, and fill it up with fresh, clear water. Right? And those are the affirmations. So the scrubbing out and dumping out is the denials, and then the pouring in is the new. Another name for this spiritual principle is circulation. Circulation. I mean, imagine what would happen in your body if your heart didn't let go of any blood. Well, that's what happens sometimes. Congestive heart failure, that's what the congestion is from. You don't want to be congested in your brain. You've got to let it circulate. And the way that you do that, it was with the heart, it's medication. And so with the brain, it's meditation. See the difference? Yes. So not only are we to let go of all these thoughts such as doubt and worry and personal grudges and unforgiveness and all that grunge, picture of that grunge at the bottom of the glass. We have to let go of the good stuff too. We do have to pour out that water that's in the rest of the glass as well. Sometimes things have been very good that we don't want to let go of. I mean, maybe there's a wonderful time in the past that we think about wistfully, that we want to kind of turn around and wish we were back there. Maybe there's been relationships in the past that have played an important part in your lives. And it's good to give thanks for the happy times and to realize how blessed you were with them going on, but realize that that's not all there is to life, that there is more going forward. The best is yet to come. That's what the Pearsons, these are Unity teachers, the best is yet to come. They had a radio show. The best is yet to come. Because if we look back, we're going to miss living in the present, which is where the blessings are. So, I'm going through this right now. Okay, I'm not going to cry. Okay. You know that as the regional consultant for Canada, it's my job to go and help ministries that are in transition. And I've been going to Unity Hamilton now. I've been there twice. I went in September 1st. And then I went in October, just before we went away to Unity Village. I actually went to Unity Village from Hamilton. Well, they are basically in the same situation that you guys were in when I got here 5 years ago. Their minister left in August. They have 3 board members. They don't have quorum. They have about 15, 17 people on a Sunday. When I got there, they were all excited because there were 25 people that came on the Sunday I spoke. And I realized that they have right now an administrative assistant that is kind of running things, but there is no spiritual leaders, no spiritual leadership. And this administrative assistant decides she doesn't want to do it anymore. She's leaving in December. So there is nobody to run that church at this time, or to help them through this transition until they're ready to hire another minister, because they can't just turn around and hire a minister. You're not going to get a minister for 15 people. So I am going to be going there and relocating. Temporarily, I'm not selling my house here, but I will be there for right now I'm saying 6 months. I've been whining, I can tell you. I've been lots white like you would not believe. It's a wonder that I'm not all granular, because I don't want. I know it's where I need to be. But I love you guys so much. And, I'm going to miss you all, miss teaching the classes and being here on Sunday, and Chloe's going to miss you guys. It's... Okay, so, I just have to know that this is where I need to be, and to allow it to release it, and to know that there's Skype, and there's, I'm just a phone call away, and I'm not, my heart is going to be here. But I'm also looking forward, I must say, to a new challenge. It's going to be one of my joys has been here is to see where you used to be and where you are now, and you guys are ready to fly. I told the folks when I got here it was going to be a 7-year process. It's been 5 years. It's maybe a year early, but it's been 5 years. You guys are you're almost ready to leave the nest. So you're going to be fine without me. I'll still be around to nag, and I'll come and visit. But I know that the more I've talked about, when I first got this thought into my mind, because it was not my idea, but looking at what was there and the people and the passion that the people there have for their ministry, and knowing that that's what we need to build on, and seeing that they love their ministry just like you love Unity of Calgary. And I know it's just going to blossom. Already there's some changes, but I know, and so for me to accept it in my heart, it's been the first time I said it out loud, I couldn't believe I was saying that I was going to do this. And so I've been talking about it more and more, and people at the conference know about it. And so I've got people in Canada that are supporting Unity of Hamilton, and we'll be holding you in prayer, but you guys are good to go. You're good to go. Yeah. But I will be back. I will be back, and I will be knowing I am part of the spiritual leadership team, and I will be holding you all in prayer and knowing exactly what's going on. You have my email address. You know where to find me. Most of you have my phone number. So, yeah, it's just been an interesting process watching myself. And this daily word, oh my goodness. Oh, Wednesday's good too. It's like go and let God. Yeah. But surrendering. You know, it can feel alarming to my limited mortal mind and seemingly synonymous with defeat. Wow. So divine order is what is happening here in my life, in your life. And just allow it to be. Oh, thank you. Let go of fighting. You know that surrender is about being non-resistant and just allowing to unfold what is there for you, what's up for you. And so just know that as we surrender one step at a time, one thought at a time, you know, as it says in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, before you're halfway through, if we're painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. So I'm expecting to be amazed. I'm ready to be amazed. And I know you are too. Let's take this into meditation, shall we?